time to toss the 4090 in the garbage because I've got something better. It's the Steam Deck OLED. Last night, I finished playing, I was playing Ghost of Tsushima, finally beat the main quest on that. And I was thinking about, okay, what am I gonna play next? Do you have a pile of shame on Steam? Do you have the backlog of games? Ooh, found that on a Steam sale, found that on a Steam sale, and then you just build up all these. Anyway, so I got a lot of games to think about. What do I wanna play? And I was just instantly rejecting anything that didn't run well on my Steam Deck because the Steam Deck is just honestly getting way more use than my high-end gaming PC with the 4090 and all of that. I don't think this is gonna be the case for absolutely everybody, and there's definitely certain games that I would rather play on a traditional gaming PC, and I did so. However, I was looking back at the gaming time I've done in 2024, and the vast majority of my gaming has been on my Steam Deck OLED rather than on my gaming PC. So why is that the case? Well, honestly, you know, the interesting thing as you get older, especially if you have kids, is that, you know, as you maybe have more money to buy things, and you got a better job, earning more money, you can finally buy that high-end gaming PC with the 4090 and the OLED screens and all of that. When are you gonna play it? Okay. Because, okay, I've got this awesome setup down in my basement, so, you know, maybe the kids are happy, they're busy doing something, so I come down here, I start up the gaming PC, load up Steam, get into my game, okay, finally get back to remembering whatever quest it was I was actually trying to do, get started up, and then, okay, now the kids need something. Oh no, this game doesn't have pause. Maybe I'm playing the Elden Ring expansion. You know, it's a little bit, okay, shut this down, get back, deal with that, come back here. It's a little bit inconvenient. Whereas the Steam Deck, just having okay, I can just hit the button, it pops back into whatever game I was in, play the game for a couple of minutes. Oh no, kids need something, just hit that standby button. And it's frozen. And maybe I come back to it 10 minutes later. Maybe I come back to it 3 days later. I didn't need to be at a save point. I didn't need to be at, you know, in a game that even had a pause feature. It just works. It fits so much better into my life. Played on my lunch breaks at work. We're traveling, we're going somewhere, whatever, this can come with me. And so that's one of the huge things, is that honestly, the problem with an actual gaming PC setup for a lot of people's schedule, or like me at least, is that it's just a lot less convenient than a handheld device. And that's probably not shocking, but it's absolutely true, meaning the Steam Deck can do things that the 4090 can't. However, obviously, yes, there are games that are just gonna run not well on a Steam Deck. So that's the case. But like I said, I just found myself thinking through, what am I going to play next? And I wasn't like consciously making the effort. I was just naturally thinking, okay, so what's going to run well on the Steam Deck? Because that's just fitting way better into my life. Now, a while back, I did a long-term review of the original Steam Deck, not the Steam Deck OLED. And while it was generally positive, I will say that now that I've had the Steam Deck OLED for a number of months, I'm way more positive about the Steam Deck overall with this OLED version, because let's go on a little bit of a tangent about monitors, okay? So, you know, the number of people who buy something like a 4090 for their gaming, they build just the highest end gaming PC, and then they don't upgrade their monitor. A lot of people stick with the same, you know, maybe kind of low mid-range monitor because, hey, it's 1440p and it has a high refresh rate. Okay, but doesn't actually look good. And I totally understand if you don't have, you know, money to throw at every part of the PC, but a lot of people don't think about the fact that, okay, the gaming PC itself isn't what you're looking at when you're playing the game. You're looking at the monitor when you're playing the game. So the monitor itself can be almost more important than the graphic settings you're running in the game. Okay, maybe you buy your 4090 to turn up all those crazy ray tracing settings, but in the end, the image you see is produced on that monitor. And if that monitor doesn't produce a beautiful image, you know, I think you're cutting yourself really short on that experience. And so, like, I totally get it. Not everybody can afford the OLED screens like you know, I'm obsessed with, but So what I'm trying to get at is the original Steam Deck has an absolutely awful display. It's truly terrible. Now I still liked the Steam Deck, don't get me wrong, and if you have the original Steam Deck and you like it and you're perfectly happy with that, I am not saying that's in any way wrong or trying to shame someone who didn't shell out for the new Steam Deck OLED, but I am gonna say that the difference between the OLED screen and the screen on the original Steam Deck is absolutely night and day difference. And it made a huge difference in my enjoyment of actually using the Steam Deck. Because honestly, one of my biggest issues with the original Steam Deck was just that even if it could run a game well, I never felt like it looked that great. Because I am used to high-end screens. You know, I have a video on OLED ruined me, right? Where once I got OLED monitors, it was very difficult for me to go back to anything else. You notice that the blacks aren't black. You know, you notice that the colors don't pop. It's just definitely a thing. Now, if you haven't seen the Steam Deck, original Steam Deck and the Steam Deck OLED side by side, maybe a lot of people have experienced a Nintendo Switch by this point. And if you've seen the original Nintendo Switch and the OLED Nintendo Switch side by side, you get a similar thing where, okay, it's running the same game at the same frame rate, using the same graphic settings, but one of them just looks massively better. Getting a display that actually has great contrast, color accuracy, things like that, can make a game look up and pop better than just like turning up the graphic settings, right? Because in the end, the graphic settings that you use are limited. You want to talk about bottlenecking. How many people are bottlenecked by their display? And I don't even mean by the resolution and the frame rate, but by its how good does the actual image look in terms of colors and things like that. So that's definitely one thing. And I would actually argue that the difference between the Switch and the Switch OLED is actually less pronounced than the Steam Deck and the Steam Deck OLED, because the Steam Deck OLED can actually do awesome HDR, whereas I don't think the Switch actually supports a true HDR. I mean, you get nice contrast because of the OLED display having true blacks, but you don't really get that HDR experience. Whereas, guys, Ghost of Tsushima, playing at the medium settings, with a little bit of dynamic resolution scaling to smooth it out to always stay at 30 FPS. And yeah, locked at 30 FPS. On the Steam Deck OLED, with the HDR going and everything, it honestly looks stunningly beautiful. But in general, just like I said, the overall convenience of using the Steam Deck, combined with the fact that honestly, some medium graphic settings running at stable frame rates at least, but with this awesome screen, can look really good. So that move to the OLED screen has really drastically improved my already good experience with the original Steam Deck. Another thing is the battery life on this, because the original Steam Deck, one of the issues I had trying to play more of the AAA type experience games, even the ones that would end up running okay on the Steam Deck, was that oftentimes the battery life was just not great. Well, the Steam Deck OLED also has a major improvement on that as well. The overall it's a really polished platform and operating system coming from Valve. Yeah, it's running Linux, so sure you do have to worry about some compatibility things. But being able to just pop open the little menu slider, you get your stat counters out there on your game, look at the frame rates you're running at, set frame rate limits on a per game basis. And with the Steam Deck OLED screen being able to go up to 90 hertz, and then you can hit anywhere below that. The one thing I really wish it had was a true variable refresh rate support, but being able to lock to any specific refresh rate has been awesome. Now, this is probably a weird personal issue. Maybe, I don't know, but does anybody ever get a high-end gaming PC and then you almost feel guilty if the games you're playing don't really need to be on a high-end gaming PC? Like, you buy your PC with that 4080 or that 4090, and you got your 7800X3D CPU or your 14900K from Intel, and so you spent thousands of dollars on this thing. Maybe you did buy your $1,000 OLED monitor, so you spent all that money on it, and then you want to play Slay the Spire. Because, guys, I've played more Slay the Spire this year than I've played any of the big new AAA releases. And I played it on my Steam Deck, and it looked beautiful, and it ran beautiful, and it was super convenient. And same thing with Hades. And now with, Hades 2 hitting early access, I think we're getting a Slay the Spire 2 probably coming out next year. I've just noticed that, honestly, a lot of the games that I actually enjoy playing aren't graphically demanding, showcase games like I, use a lot in my benchmarks because we're interested in, okay, can it run the latest gaming technology? But are those the games I actually put a ton of time into playing, right? A lot of the games I play are old backlog games, indie games that aren't super difficult to run. So that's the other thing, is maybe just be a little bit honest with yourself about, okay, what games do I actually enjoy playing? Now, I really don't think the Steam Deck's gonna work for everybody, because one of the things where I would say it's incredibly weak compared to a traditional gaming PC setup is multiplayer games. Because a lot of games that are multiplayer, first of all, if you want to play on a PC with a keyboard and mouse and like a first-person shooter kind of game, obviously a Steam Deck's not going to be the best way to do that. But then also a lot of games, like anti-cheat systems and things like that, don't support Linux properly, which again, this is running Linux. Sure, you can install Windows on it, but I think the whole point of the Steam Deck and why I love it so much is actually Valve's operating system, where again, you can just pop in and out of the games in standby and things like that. So I really think this is good for a single player experience. I think the Linux combined with being on a controller, at least in the most convenient way of playing on it, does mean that for the people who'd be looking into playing like the esports types games on PC and just multiplayer stuff in general, the Steam Deck's probably not the best way to play, although there are certain games. So if your game is supported well and works well on the Steam Deck and on a controller and all of that, then maybe you're totally fine to go on that. But yeah, so the point of this video is basically that, well, I don't think the Steam Deck is going to be better than a high-end gaming PC for everybody. It's interesting that I am in a position where I do have access to both the high-end gaming PC and the Steam Deck OLED, but just with my life, playing on lunch breaks, 10 or 15 minutes while my kids are, brushing their teeth, getting ready for bed, maybe I can pop into my game for a few minutes on the couch on the Steam Deck, whereas if I had to walk downstairs to get, fire up the PC and all of that, it's just not going to fit in. And there's a ton of great games that don't need powerful hardware. They'll run extremely well on the Steam Deck. And if you get that OLED screen, the graphics can pop, it can run, it can look beautiful. And yeah, when I'm thinking through the next game I'm gonna play, a huge part of that decision is gonna be looking for games that are gonna run great on the Steam Deck, because that's just gonna be the way I will honestly have the most time to play a game. Certain games, definitely still gonna bust out the gaming PC, so it's great to have both. Last thing I'll mention is another interesting combo option on that, which is, say you have a gaming PC, maybe it's not even super powerful, but you can stream games either through Steam itself, using its Steam Remote Play feature, to the Steam Deck through your local network, and running a game at 800p, which is what your Steam Deck screen is going to be a lot easier than if you were trying to do it at 1440p or even 1080p. So if you have maybe a less powerful gaming PC, but one that is more powerful than a Steam Deck itself, then you can do that kind of streaming feature to run a game that maybe your Steam Deck couldn't, and then still play it in the Steam Deck kind of form factor. Although I will say that then you lose a bit of that, like I said, one of the things I really love is that just instant resume feature and instant standby feature for that convenience level. So that it's not as perfect of a situation when you're doing the remote play type stuff. And I will mention, though, that if you are interested, definitely look into Sunshine and Moonlight, a third-party streaming setup for your Steam Decks, because it can work a lot better and support some cool stuff that, I really wish that Steam would do a little better job with its remote play. I think that has some room for some upgrading. It's super convenient. It's built right into the Steam operating system. But other than that, I think it does have some room for improvement. So yeah, overall, with the much better screen, the improved battery life, the Steam Deck OLED really has been getting the vast majority of my gaming time, a lot more so than my actual gaming PC setup. I'm curious, any of you guys who maybe own both, what's your gameplay, time percentage-wise between your PC and your Steam Deck? Because like I said, just due to the convenience of the thing, I end up just spending, I don't have exact stats, but I would say 70 to 80% of my gaming time is actually on the Steam Deck OLED rather than the high-end gaming PC. So thought I'd make the video to just throw those ideas out there. What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comments section, and I hope all of you have an excellent day.